Well, hello, Davenport New Democrats. Here we are at the end of January already, and the snow has finally returned. Like all of you, or many of you, I'm working from home, as is my family. I have a daughter who's doing online high school, and my partner and I are trying to work and live here together at the same time, and another daughter doing online university. It's been tough for a lot of people in our community, a lot tougher than what we're facing, and across Ontario. We and my office are fielding hundreds of calls and emails from constituents every week. My team, Ashley, Greg, and Peter, who are also working from home right now, are working really, really hard to provide people with the support they need in a timely fashion, whether it's small businesses or people facing eviction or people with questions about vaccination or families who have loved ones in long-term care. You know, the first lockdown was difficult, but this second time around, it's really affecting people very deeply. And what's so frustrating is that the Ford government has really done the bare minimum. At a time when we should be investing and taking more action, they're sitting on about $6.4 billion in COVID relief funds that have gone unspent. And that's according to the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. That's funding that could and should be used to provide emergency measures and support for workers and for residents in long-term care, where we've seen thousands of lives lost. Or it's investment that could have happened over the last 6 months in smaller class sizes, a broad-based asymptomatic testing program in schools and in workplaces, something I've been pushing really hard for, and more supports to help people stay home and stay safe, like paid sick days, as well as increases in support for people with disabilities. In fact, while the inequality gap has been growing during this pandemic, and so many have been sick, Ford has used the pandemic as cover to continue his government's agenda of privatization. They're helping their wealthy donor friends make a buck on the backs of people who are suffering. They're allowing developers to literally bulldoze over heritage properties, override conservation authorities, and build on protected wetlands. And they're providing extra protection for negligent, for-profit long-term care corporations, making it harder for families to seek justice. As the education critic for the official opposition, I've been really busy with that, of course, as well. I know it's been a very difficult time for all the teachers and education workers, children and families out there in our community. I'm worried that our children are falling behind and that the government's going to continue to take shortcuts and fail to invest in the kind of support and action that's needed now, but also will be needed in coming years. But look, the good news is that in our community and in the NDP, we don't just sit back and wait for change to happen. We organize and we get things done. I really want to thank our riding association executive and everybody who has joined in all of the weekly calling that we've been doing and the other actions. You are amazing. We have worked so closely with community organizations, with businesses to advocate for more and better supports to keep those main street stores open, our community businesses that we care about so much, our community agencies and organizations. We're pushing hard and we're organizing for paid sick leave. We're working with education workers and parents and students who've been pushing consistently for more and better action in education and on so many other fronts. We are always stronger when we organize and work together, and we've made a big difference. Look, if you haven't already signed up to get more involved, do it. We have fun, and it's also a great way to stay connected while you're actually doing good work. We're heading back to the legislature in mid-February, and we could be heading into a provincial election this year. I want you to know I'm not taking anything for granted. I want you to thank those of you who've been able to help donate a little bit so we can prepare for that election. It is an enormous privilege to have your support and to represent this community. I'm going to keep organizing and advocating and putting forward solid solutions to protect Ontarians during the pandemic and beyond. I believe that we need to form government this time round because Ontario needs a government with the backbone and the commitment to help address that growing inequality gap to ensure that we have a just and green recovery to address anti-Black, anti-Indigenous, and other forms of racism and hate, and that has the guts to ensure that the billionaires and the wealthiest corporations who have profited during this pandemic, to make sure they pay their fair share. We can do it together, and thank you.